students, let me inviting you all for watching the second video, part 2. How are you all? I hope you are all fine there. Are you ready to listen the class? Yes, you must. You are going to listen the continuation of part 1 of this lesson. The title of the lesson is A Nice Cup of Tea, which is written by George Orwell. Now you are going to listen key points. Tea is one of the mainstays of civilization. Best way of making it is the subject of violent disputes. There are 11 outstanding points in making tea. 4 are acutely controversial. Firstly, use Indian or Ceylonese tea. Secondly, tea is to be made in small quantities in a teapot made of china or earthenware. Thirdly, pot is to be warmed before hand by placing it on the hob. Fourthly, tea to be strong. For a pot of quart, 6 heaped teaspoons. 1 strong cup is better than 20 weak cups of tea a day. Tea lovers like it stronger as they age. Fifthly, tea is to be put straight into pot. No strainers or muslin to imprison tea. Sixthly, take the teapot instead of kettle. Very important point. It is an important point. Take the teapot instead of kettle. Water should be boiling at the moment of impact. Sixthly, take the teapot instead of kettle. Water should be boiling at the moment of impact. Seventhly, stir it after making tea or give the pot a good shake. Allow the leaves to settle. Eighthly, drink out of a cylindrical breakfast cup which holds more and keeps it hot. Ninthly, pour cream of the milk before using it for tea. Tenthly, pour tea into the cup. First to exactly regulate the amount of milk. Lastly, tea should be drunk without sugar to get the exact flavor of tea. Controversies exist, but the whole business of making and drinking tea is subsidized. Mysteries, social etiquette around teapots, subsidiary uses of tea leaves, telling fortunes, predicting arrival of visitors, feeding rabbits, healing burns, sweeping the carpet. Students, next you are going to listen the explanation through questions and answers. Are you ready to listen the class? Students, now what does the author say about cookery book and his own recipe for preparing tea? Tea has been an important beverage for most of the people in 1,000 years. The author highlights the distinctive features of preparing a nice cup of tea. If we look up for tea in the first cookery book that comes to our hand, we probably find that it is unmentioned, or we will find a few lines of sketchy instructions which give no ruling on several of the most important points. This is interesting because tea is one of the mainstays of civilization in Britain, Australia, and New Zealand. The author says that the best method for making tea is a subject of violent disputes. Subject of violent disputes. The author's own recipe for a perfect cup of tea is that there are no fewer than 11 outstanding points. How many points, students? 11 outstanding points. Though two of his points are generally agreed by the public, there are at least 4 points which are controversial. Next question. Summarize George Orwell's distinctive ideas in A Nice Cup of Tea. A Nice Cup of Tea by George Orwell is a discussion of the craft of making a cup of tea. The author gives 11 golden rules to prefer a tea. First, he begins to insist on using an Indian or Ceylonese tea to feed wiser, braver, and more optimistic. Tea should be made in small quantities in a china or earthenware. The pot should be warmed beforehand. Tea should always be strong and it should be put straight into the teapot. We should take the teapot to the kettle and after making tea, one should stir it well. Tea should be drank out of a cylindrical type of cup as it holds more tea. Milk that is too creamy always gives the tea a sickly taste. So, we should pour the cream of the milk. Next, one should pour tea into the cup first. Lastly, he says that we should drink tea without sugar. These are the controversial points to arise in connection with tea drinking. Now, the next question, discuss how the essay reveals the factual points and the author's personal opinions on preparation of tea. If we look into a cookery book for the preparation of tea, it would not be mentioned there. We can find at the most only a few lines of sketchy instructions, which gives no importance on several important points. The best manner of making it is the subject of violent disputes. So, the author gives his personal opinion on the preparation of tea. He gives his own 11 rules, every one of which he regards as golden. Two of these rules are generally agreed by the public, but at least 4 others are acutely controversial. What should be poured first? Students, listen this question. What should be? Controversial questions. What should be poured first in the cup has become a subject of controversial points. Students, have you understood this point? George Orwell says that one should pour tea first in the cup. Why? Most of the people prefer to add sugar in the tea. The author says add pepper or salt to it. If we drink tea without sugar for a fortnight, we should never ruin the tea by sweetening it again. The last question. What are the aspects that contribute to humor in the essay? Very important question. One of the most influential statements of British way of tea is George Orwell essay A Nice Cup of Tea. It was written at a time when tea was in short supply against the backdrop of severe food shortages across Europe country. There's something sentimental but also ironic about its title. This was a time when tea was widely available, as every adult in Britain had a weekly ration, but every little of it was nice. In mock serious tones, Orwell's essay gives us an 11-point guide to tea making in mid 20th century England. Orwell's bitter experience in the army makes him to criticize the army tea as tasting of grease and whitewash. There are some points of differences in his 11 rules, but we should appreciate him for writing it with great spirit, and whatever difference holds in making tea in different cultures. Tea lovers just love to have a great cup of tea. Students, have you understood the points and its questions simultaneously answers also? Please recollect all the points. Next class, what you are going to see? Part 3, summary of the lesson and its mind map. Thank you, children. Thank you very much. A nice day.